can tell.
Hey guys, so today I'm doing another story time, and this one might sound confusing, but I promise it's great. And I'm using my mascot, yay! So I'm starting high school in a few days, so I thought I would tell a funny story from when I was in middle school. My very first year of middle school, oh boy, it was pretty bad, but pretty crazy, so this story is called The Mouldy Cheese Locker, and you'll understand in a minute. So in grade 6, that was the first year that we had the lockers, because in all the other grades when we were in elementary school, we just had coat hooks. So in grade 6, that was our first year we had lockers, and my locker was on the bottom, and so was my friend Peyton's, because we're like best friends, so our lockers were next to each other. And beside me, on the other side, there were a bunch of lockers that nobody used from any of the other classes. So at the beginning of the year, they gave me this lock, which was just so annoying. I could barely ever get it to work, and when I did, it took me 50 tries. So I brought my own lock from home, snuck it in. No, but I did, and then I put my own locker that I had been practicing on all summer on my real locker. And if you know me or seen my videos, you know that like my room is very clean. I like to keep things very clean. I'm organized. I'm good, I guess. I think. I don't know. So the locker next to mine, I just put that other lock on it. And when my cousin came for a day at school, she actually used that locker. But at one point I did this skating thing, which I just did not like. I put like this old helmet in there. And I also put my old jacket in there before like Halloween because it didn't fit me anymore. So one day I was sitting with Peyton and Heidi and Gracie. And it was recess. I can't talk, but it was recess, and I was looking for my lunchbox, and I found the old cheese from the day before that I just forgot to take out of my lunchbox that my mom cut up, and I didn't eat it. So I asked Heidi if she wanted it, because she usually eats some stuff that I don't want, or we share food sometimes. So I asked her if she wanted it, and she said yes, because I normally ate it with crackers, but I didn't have any crackers. So she starts eating it, and I'm watching her, and I notice on the side there's some mold on it, and she just about had it in her mouth, and I was like, stop, there's mold! And then she just threw it on the ground, and we were all like, oh my gosh. And then it was in this little blue container that had like 6 pieces of cheese, and we were scooting it all around the hallway on the floor. And we were all freaking out because it was just so disgusting and none of us wanted to touch it. And it was only a day old, so we could have gotten rid of it, but we didn't because we were all stupid. So we put it in the container and I just left it on the floor. I was like, hopefully nobody notices, because I didn't want to deal with it. It was sad to lose my container, but some things had to be done. So after about a week, it was still on the floor because in grade 6, the hallways were so messy and disgusting. I just hated them so much. But eventually people started kicking it around the floor, and other people tried the lost and found bin because lots of people put stuff in there, and I don't understand how there's so much stuff in there that nobody claims. But so someone eventually kicked it back to me, and they were like, what's this? And I was trying to pretend. And I was just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. So I put my old jacket and my old helmet in the locker. So I did the combination actually right. And I threw the cheese in there. And I was talking to my friends about it for a while. And I was like, oh my gosh, this cheese is still in this locker. And it's moldy. So my mom never questioned the missing container, but the cheese was in there for a few months in this locker. And me and my friends would always talk about it, like, what should we do? Should we get it out or what? And I said, I don't know. And eventually, after a little while, so this was in November, it started to smell. And my locker next to it was clean. And it smelled awful. And I was talking to my friends, and I was saying things, and I was like, okay, the moldy cheese is still in my locker. Nobody in the class knew it was me because the locker wasn't even meant for anyone. So we came back to school after Christmas break and it smelled awful. That's when it really started to smell. And I was right next to it. And me and Peyton, we didn't like having bottom lockers because also we're kind of shy, so everyone would push through and we would wait at the back wall for 20 minutes every day to get our stuff. So we just kept talking and talking about it. So one day, a few months later, me and my friends were in the hallway and I decided to open the locker to see what the cheese looked like. Oh my goodness, there was like something living in it and we were screaming and freaking out because I hate mold, I hate everything. This moldy cheese was such a disaster. And me and Peyton were right next to it, so we had to deal with it every day. So I slammed the locker and as soon as I opened it, this just went like this horrible smell. I don't even know why I'm laughing at this because it's not very funny at all. But so that happened and it was so disgusting. So I slammed the locker shut and I was always talking about it and I was saying things. And I was like, okay, my jacket is still in there. We need to get this. So eventually, after months of smelling it, and other people next to it were starting to be like, what's that smell? But honestly, my school always stunk. It always smelled awful. But people started really trying to figure out what it was. And I just had to act like I didn't know. And months went by, and I talked to my friends, and I was like, okay, we need to get this over with. So we made this whole chat on Instagram with our old accounts. Well, actually, I still have it, but I think I removed it. Talking about the plan and what we were going to do. And I was like, we need gloves and gas masks. I honestly wish this happened this year because we have masks now, so we could be protected. But no, we didn't have that, so we chose gloves. So the plan was to get it open without dying because it was gross. Because this whole container of moldy cheese was in there. Save my jacket, because I really did need my jacket. It didn't really fit me, but Leah could use it. And get rid of the cheese. So my plan was me, Heidi, and Peyton. So the plan was I unlocked the locker. And Peyton was kind of the one who opened it and held it and got it ready, and then we grabbed it and Heidi had the bag and we put it in the bag like the brain, then we had the whole backup. It was funny, we were like a little team. And she put it in the bag and we wrapped it up so much. It smelled awful. Like the whole day I was just like, ew. It smelled so bad and the cheese was so moldy and disgusting. Over time it just got so much worse. That I had been storing in this extra locker. It was just so disgusting to look at. So we wrapped it up and we took it downstairs and we washed our hands 50 times. And I used a bunch of soap because I was like, ew, germs, ew. And also I'm allergic to the soap in the bathroom and I have eczema on my hands. So that just made it worse, but I didn't care. I was like, I just touched moldy cheese. So we wrapped it up in a bag and we gave it to our other friend Gracie. And I was just like, here's a little something for you and take that home. And I feel so bad that we gave that to her to get rid of it. And it was all wrapped up and it was all stuck and you could barely see into the container because there was just so much mold all over it. The cheese was just disgusting. And we left it in there, and it was just really... So we just had to act for 6 months, because we didn't get out until about May, that nothing was wrong, and would stink up the whole hallway. This container of my stinky cheese, I really don't know why we didn't get rid of it the day it just had a little bit on the side, and I saved Heidi from eating it. Me and my friends were all like, ew, I'm not doing it, you do it. Like, we're really stupid. Because I didn't want to put it in my locker because my locker was clean and I had my clothes in it, but it smelled awful and now it's kind of a joke. So we wrapped it up and gave it to Gracie. And then a few weeks later we had the school dance and Gracie and her mom took me home and we were walking to the car and her mom says to me, and she was like, Allison, I have a question to ask you. A few weeks ago, Gracie came home with a container of 5 moldy, stinky cheese in a container. And I was just like, oh yeah, I don't know. Poor Gracie, I'm sorry. And I was just like, yeah, it was like a thing that I did with Heidi and all that. And it was so embarrassing, really. Well, not embarrassing, but just kind of weird. And they cleaned the container. I don't even know how. There was so much mold all over it. It was disgusting. I almost threw up. And I'm pretty sure they still have my container. I don't even know if they're ever going to give it back, but it was awful. My poor container, it just smelled awful. And it was in the locker next to mine for so many months. We called it the Mouldy cheese locker. We could have given it to one of our bullies, but we didn't. And it was just so awful because it smelled really awful in this locker that was next to mine, my extra locker. So after surviving and taking my jacket home in 6 garbage bags because it smelled awful and returning the helmet to my other friend, at the end of the year when we had to take everything out of our lockers, I took that lock that they gave me at the beginning of the year off the Mouldy cheese locker. And I took my locker that was on my main locker home. And I gave the other lock to my teacher, like, here, I've had it all year, here you go. And no teachers ever found out a thing because that locker wasn't supposed to be for anyone. But yeah, we left moldy cheese in there and this whole and me and my friends made this whole plan of this moldy, stinky cheese. I just bumped my thing on the desk, but that's fine. I didn't need you, bowl. But anyway, that was quite an experience. We will never do that again. Never keep food in your locker. Just disgusting. We should have just thrown it away. But yeah, at the end of the year, we just kind of acted like nothing was wrong. And now whenever we're in there, we're always like, oh my gosh, the moldy cheese locker. It still kind of smells, but it's not as bad, even though it's been 3 years. But maybe if we go back to the middle school this year for a visit, we can check it out. But yeah, that was the kind of random story of the moldy cheese locker. So thank you for watching this. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment if you can. I'm sorry this is really random. And we'll see you later. Bye!